Nobody told her it would end like this. Two 130-pound Bullmastiffs, Kennel 17, 287 days. 11 families had already walked away, and a 51-year-old librarian who came to check on a neighbor's cat stopped at that kennel 9 minutes, signed the papers 43 minutes after that, and never once looked back. What those two dogs did inside her house over the next 5 months, nobody saw coming, not even her. Nobody told her it would end like this. Nobody said that two 130-pound Bullmastiffs, passed over by 11 different families, sitting in Kennel 17 of a Florida shelter for 287 days, would be the reason a 51-year-old librarian finally started sleeping through the night again. Nobody said any of that. But then nobody told Bruno and Baxter either, and they figured it out anyway. Their names were already on the kennel card when Margaret first walked past. Bruno, Baxter. Both brown, both enormous, both sitting with their shoulders pressed together like they had been leaning on each other since before they had words for it. Bruno was 134 pounds, broad-shouldered, with a face so deeply wrinkled it looked like it had lived through several additional lifetimes before arriving at this one. Baxter was 128 pounds, quieter in his body, with eyes that tracked everything in the room the way a careful person reads a room before deciding whether to trust it. They had been surrendered on the same morning. Previous owner, a man relocating abroad. The form had 3 words in the reason box: can no longer. The sentence ended there, mid-thought. They had lived with him for 4 years. After the surrender, 11 families came through. 9 of them left within 5 minutes. One couple made it through a weekend of consideration before deciding the food bill alone was a deal breaker. One family tried to separate them, taking Bruno and leaving Baxter behind. Baxter refused to eat for 4 straight days. He did not bark, he did not pace, he simply stopped. The shelter manager, Linda, had never seen a dog communicate grief with that kind of silence. She pulled the paperwork the same afternoon. They were listed together that day forward, or not at all. Margaret Hayes had been a school librarian for 23 years. She lived alone in Clearwater, in a house with 3 bedrooms and a reading nook she had not used in 18 months. Her husband had died on a Tuesday in March. Heart attack, no warning, no conversation beforehand that might have served as a goodbye. She had kept the house because selling it meant deciding what to do with everything inside it, and she was not ready for that. She kept his coffee mug on the counter. She kept the Tuesday morning routine because changing it felt like erasing him from the start of every day. The silence in that house had a specific weight, not the comfortable silence of someone content to be alone. The silence of subtraction. She had gone to Maplewood Shelter to check on a cat, a neighbor's animal, recovering from a minor procedure. She was not browsing, she was not open to anything. She had her keys in her hand when she walked past Kennel 17. She stopped without meaning to. Bruno was asleep with his chin resting on Baxter's front paw. Baxter was awake, watching the hallway with the patient attention of someone who has stopped expecting anything in particular, but has not yet stopped watching. When he saw Margaret, he did not stand. He did not make a sound. He simply held her gaze for a moment in a way that felt to her slightly too specific to be accidental. She stood at that kennel for 9 minutes. She timed it later, trying to understand what had happened to her afternoon. Linda found her there and was honest. She always was. Each dog eats around 6 pounds of food a week, she said, 12 pounds combined. The last routine vet visit for both came to $430. They are not dangerous, they are not aggressive, they are not difficult dogs, but they cannot be separated. We have tried twice, and both times Baxter stopped eating, and Bruno howled through 2 consecutive nights until his voice was gone. They are one unit. The package is 262 pounds, and 11 families have decided that is too much dog for one household. Margaret looked at Bruno, now awake, now watching her with the same unhurried attention as his brother. Then Baxter stood. He walked to the front of the kennel, lowered his enormous head, and pressed the full width of his wrinkled forehead against the bars. He did not whine, he made a sound that was quieter than a whine, lower than a sigh, something that had no category but that moved through Margaret's chest like a frequency she recognized. She signed the papers 43 minutes later. Linda did not comment on the speed of the decision. She had seen this before. Not often, but she recognized it when it happened. The first week was educational for everyone involved. Bruno walked directly into the backyard screen door 6 minutes after arriving, walked back inside, and showed no indication that the experience had taught him anything. Baxter sat on the living room sofa, and it responded by tilting 3 inches left, a structural conversation it would continue to have with the floor for the remainder of its life. That first night, both orthopedic beds Margaret had purchased sat empty and pristine on the floor, while Bruno arranged himself across the full length of the sofa and began snoring at a volume that she would later describe to her daughter as a generator that had opinions. Baxter had located her bedroom, walked to her side of the bed, and settled himself across 2/3 of the mattress with the peaceful certainty of someone who has found exactly where he belonged. She tried to move him. Baxter opened one eye, considered her, and closed it again.
By the end of week 1, Margaret had lost her sofa, her side of the bed, and any reasonable expectation of eating a meal without a 134-pound chin appearing on the edge of the table at the precise moment her fork was lifted. Bruno had developed a system. He positioned himself at the table corner where the sightline to her plate was unobstructed. He did not beg in any recognizable sense. He simply watched each forkful travel from plate to mouth with the focused attention of a professional whose livelihood depended on this data. The drool puddle beneath his chin was roughly the diameter of a dinner plate. Every meal. Margaret began keeping paper towels in the pocket of her cardigan. This was now just a fact of her life. There was also the blanket. On day 2, Bruno had located a gray fleece throw on the reading chair in the corner of the living room. By day 3, it was his in a way that required no further discussion. Every night after the lights went out, Bruno would find the corner of that blanket and begin kneading it with his front paws. Slowly, with great seriousness. He would knead until he fell asleep, blanket tucked under his chin, body relaxing in sections. Margaret watched from the doorway 3 nights before she understood what she was feeling. Standing in the dark, watching a 134-pound dog make himself small enough to knead a blanket. It was the specific tenderness of being trusted. Nobody tells you this about Bullmastiffs. Behind those broad skulls and those slow, deliberate eyes, there is a precision. They do not observe you carelessly. They accumulate you. And by week 6, Bruno and Baxter knew Margaret better than most people who had known her for years. It was a Wednesday in November when she came home and sat on the kitchen floor. A former student had stopped by the library to say goodbye before moving across the country. A brief conversation, ordinary in every way, but he had the same laugh as her husband. Not similar, the same. She had not heard that sound in 18 months, and she was not prepared for it. She drove home, let herself in, set her keys on the counter, and sat down in the kitchen floor without quite deciding to. Bruno came first. Slowly, without drama, he lowered himself beside her and placed his head in her lap. He did not look at her. He simply waited the moment with his presence. Then Baxter pressed his entire side against her arm, 128 pounds of warm, steady weight, and did not move. Margaret sat on her kitchen floor at 7:51 in the evening, 262 pounds of dog, and the house, for the first time in 18 months, did not feel like a place something had been taken from. It felt like a place something had arrived. If you are still watching and have not subscribed yet, I want you to know that genuinely stings. We put everything into these stories. Hit subscribe. You are not going to want to miss what happens next. After that, routines formed the way good routines do, simply by repeating until they became facts. Every morning at 6:20, Baxter would press his nose against the bedroom door with the patient pressure of someone who has decided that physics will eventually cooperate. Bruno had a different system. He would carry Margaret's reading glasses from the nightstand to the kitchen counter beside his bowl each morning, then sit and wait. She had no recollection of negotiating this agreement. She honored it regardless. Every afternoon near 4 o'clock, Baxter would take his position at the front window, face to the glass, and wait, not watching for anything specific, just oriented toward the driveway the way a compass is oriented toward north. The moment Margaret's car appeared at the far end of the street, he would rise. By the time she reached the front door, he was already there, tail describing slow, wide arcs, his entire body expressing a certainty she found each time quietly overwhelming. Then came the Friday night in January. 3:18 in the morning. Bruno's bark was wrong, not in the sense of unusual, wrong in the sense of urgent, sharp, a frequency he had never used before in 5 months of living in that house. She came downstairs and found him at the back door, completely rigid, eyes fixed on the yard beyond the glass. Baxter was beside him. Baxter was not barking. Baxter was producing a low vibration from somewhere deep in his chest, a sound she felt in her sternum before she consciously heard it. She turned on the porch light. A man was on the back fence, one leg already over the top. The light found him, and he stopped. Then he looked past Margaret into the kitchen. He saw Bruno, 134 pounds, completely still, eyes open, not moving. He did not finish climbing over that fence. He fell backwards off it. He left a single shoe behind in the yard, caught in the rose bush beside the gate. The police took the report. 2 houses on her street had been entered that night. Margaret's was untouched. 11 families had called them too much. 262 pounds that nobody wanted. They were the reason her door was whole the next morning, and every morning after that. Today, Bruno is 6 years old, and Baxter is 5. Bruno still carries the reading glasses to the kitchen every morning without having been asked to stop. Baxter still takes his post at the window at 4 o'clock. The gray blanket has belonged to Bruno for more than 2 years now, and that situation is not under review. The drool radius at the dinner table, Margaret stopped measuring. She simply accounts for it. She does not come home to a house that echoes anymore. She comes home to 262 pounds of loyalty and a door that already has a nose print on it from the inside. When her daughter in Portland asked whether she had been frightened the night of the fence, Margaret thought about the question. Then she said no, she had not been frightened of much at all since the afternoon she stood at Kennel 17 for 9 minutes and a 128-pound dog pressed his forehead against the bars. Some dogs do not require an invitation. They do not wait to be wanted before they decide to protect you. They look at the space you are standing in and simply choose. Bruno and Baxter made that choice the first night she came home, and every morning since, with stolen glasses and a nose-dented door and a gray blanket that belongs to no one else in the world, they keep making it, every single day. Nobody wanted 2 130-pound Bullmastiffs, but 2 130-pound Bullmastiffs decided they wanted her, and that, it turns out, was enough for everyone. Would you say yes to 2 dogs that everyone else walked away from? Tell me in the comments.